Come tomorrow, 1 year to the day, we honor a legend, a dreamer, an innovator who thought wrestling could be global, blur the lines between sports combat with boxing and mixed martial arts. He was a peacemaker, he was a pioneer, he was a trailblazer. And tomorrow we present from AEW the first ever Wrestle Dream, where truly only the strongest spirit will thrive. And we got a lot to talk about here today before we get into our coverage of NXT tonight. So we're back, folks. So here we go again. Welcome to the conversation. Hello, everybody, and welcome once again to City Predicting. This time as we cover AEW Wrestle Dream. You know what this is, for I am the simple man of the simple brand and the voice of the JMN, forever grateful for professional wrestling. And my name is Noah Foster. With me, of course, is the renegade of All Elite this time, founder, CEO of Cassidy 18 Studios, JJ Williams. JJ, we got a lot to do this week, and of course, we are covering NXT No Mercy tonight, but tomorrow we'll be covering Wrestle Dream. So here we are previewing it. This is not AEW restricted, folks, but the Renegade will be released, and we're going to have some fun talk too. Maniacal laugh. But JJ, how you feeling about tomorrow's pay-per-view in general?
In general, I think it's going to be a good show. You know, AEW tends to deliver. No ifs, ands, or buts. You know, they may lag a little bit in the promotion and the build up, but once the matches are on paper, they tend to deliver more often than not. So I am looking forward to the show. I think it's going to be a good show. I don't know if it's going to live up to the initial expectations of what it was billed as, like we were talking about privately. I feel like it was kind of billed as an extension of Forbidden Door, where it was supposed to be AEW versus New Japan. And I feel like that whole part of it kind of fell flat and maybe didn't go through as originally planned. But we'll have to see what happens with some of these matches. And the trios match I was trying to remember, I put into the private chat for you. So that's, you can find that one right there.
Hey, TMDK, the Mighty Don't Kneel, Shane Case, Mikey Nichols, the former TM61 from My NXT, and your boy, Bad Dude Tito, who, of course, we saw that day Resurgence. They'll be challenging the Acclaim and Daddy Ass tomorrow during the 0 hour for the AEW Trios Championships. And also, Luchasaurus takes on Nick Wayne one-on-one. And we might cover the 0 hour here a little bit because I do think one of those matches could come into play towards maybe what could be part of the main event outcome as we learn what the main event's going to be. And we're going to definitely talk more about that heavily. But before we get into everything, again, folks, you want to dictate the conversation, super chat at Castellini Studios. It's as simple as that. We appreciate you all always tuning in to our content here across the multiverse media, across all of our platforms. And we hope that we engage you in our discussion here as we focus primarily here on Wrestle Dreams. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to, of course, Mr. Reliable himself, Walter, who says, this should be good because, like you just said, JJ, AEW has a tendency to undersell but still overachieve. And sometimes it's literally the week of or the day before, particularly of Ring of Honor. I still go back and watch Ring of Honor Death Before Dishonor. What a pay-per-view. And again, at the end of the day, it's just more wrestling content. And this should be a lot of fun, to say the least. And we'll talk more about the 0 hour probably tomorrow during our 0 hour, as of course we'll be covering it, me and JJ together. So stay tuned, folks. And again, if you want to check out this show yourself, it is available across all pay-per-view providers internationally, and of course here for now on Bleacher Report via pay-per-view. And yes, I bought it because I am crazy as a fan of professional wrestling too, damn it, but I digress. So check out Wrestling tomorrow if you can, and also check out the 0 hour for free across all AEW social medias and YouTube. That starts 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow night. And of course, I do leagues for all things wrestling. Shout out, of course, the family on the Twitter. And here's where the All Elite team of No DQ stands. And right now, it is James at the forefront. Take care of yourself, brother. Followed by me and the West Coast professor himself, Jeff. JJ, you're kind of in the middle, but you really are learning your way and having fun, it seems, with All Elite Wrestling. And shout out to Mr. Reliable there at 39, right underneath the shooter. And of course, the Galaxy, their opinion is married too. Here's the first page of the Galaxy League as Sean Bully, and of course, fellow member of the NoDQ Galaxy and one of my horsemen of predictions, Christopher Rotz, ain't he great, is holding down second place to anybody's game as we are in, I believe, what is now event 7 of the All Elite League. And again, I hope everybody just has fun, and as always, just enjoy life and enjoy wrestling. Zero gets to you, but I digress. Check out him, folks, Private Production and his channel, Current TV. Appreciate y'all, brother. And again, sometimes 2, 6, 5, 9. I'll probably never do that again because that was absolutely insane. Unless it's WrestleMania because that deserves the biggest panel possible. What do? I always just do what I can. And simply put, as Mr. Reliable puts it, donate to dictate. Damn it, he digress. But it's truly
That's
as
right.
simple as that.
Because I'm gonna throw it out there. There's a couple matches, and Noah's already been forewarned that I am gonna go off on. So I can either go off in a PG family friendly way, or I can go off in a rated R kind of way.
Well, I mean, the
If
pay-per-view
you
TV
want
works.
me to go off in a more vulgar rated R kind of way, I need to see at least $20 worth of super chats pop up in the chat room today.
You heard him here,
So
folks.
I have made it known.
All right. Well, that being said, the ticker's going, and we're still underneath the PG safety lot.
Yes.
So, without further ado, until we get to those matches, let's get right into it. So, we got 10 matches known on this main card here, and that's gotta be a shirt, JJ.
We'll pass that on to Jeff. He's the one who's got the Pro Wrestling Tee store. He's the one who's got the marketing and the T-shirts and everything. So
Exactly.
he's the one that made the Noah shirt. He's the one that made the Hush Money in the Bank shirt. The how many streams without a F-bomb for James. So just let him know. Send him a message. I'm sure we can get that taken care of, Walter.
Well, that being said, let's go ahead and start with this because I don't know about you, JJ, but do you think MJF can actually take care of being the Ring of Honor Tag Team Champion on his own in the name of the now injured Adam Cole, baby? Because I kid you not, folks, Ben You Baby is still defending the gold, but now it is a 2-on-1 handicap match against the Righteous. Dig what I'm saying, man? We got Vincent and the most cynical colonel I've ever seen, Dutch, taking on Maxwell Jacob Freeman, who is also our current AEW World Champion and might soon be breathing with the Switchblade, or maybe somebody else that's trying to intrude on the party, if you know what I mean, after seeing the end of Dynamite. And I'm sure we'll talk more about that later. But here we are. MJF defend the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships 2-on-1 match against the Righteous, as the Righteous not only beat the Hardys in their AEW debut on Collision, they won a fatal 4-way number 1 contendership to get this title bout. Talking about literally society is a lie. Everybody is all bound, not by each other, but by materials. And we're going to take the one material that bound you and Adam Cole together, and that's the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships. Dig what I'm saying, man? That being said, JJ, this is a very bizarre situation, but again, it's literally heads or tails versus what MJF was last year. Not the fact that he's just a WWE champion, but a whole new confident, conscious to be our scumbag and fight on behalf of more than just himself. So what's your take on this? Because again, maybe he needs to lose it to go back to his cynical ways and truly show us that he is the devil on another level. Or does he need this, like, I would say, continued confidence and encouragement, and somehow he finds divine intervention and overcomes the insane impurity of this purity of the righteous trying to create as New Rivera Tag Team Champions? What's your take on this 2-on-1? This is a very rare thing, and I think it's the first time ever in AEW.
Well, for starters, who decided to hire the Wish versions of Joe Gacy and Bray Wyatt? Let's just get that out there and expose the elephant in the room.
That's very fair.
If these guys don't look like a broke-ass version of the Wyatt family, I don't know. Especially that video promo that they had run on Dynamite. I was like, man, this totally is giving me such Wyatt vibes.
Yeah, instead of a forest, it's a beautiful garden, which is even more bizarre.
But I digress. When it comes to this match for me, MJF and Cole, as great of a moment as it was for them to win the titles, they never needed the titles.
Agree.
The Righteous have been on a tear ever since coming up to the main AEW show. And considering this is for the Ring of Honor tag titles, I think we see Max lose the belts here on his own, furthering the story between him and Adam and Adam's potential heel turn, and is Adam the man in the devil mask, and all that other speculation. I mean, the devil mask was hanging in Adam's locker.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if this injury of his isn't kayfabe. Yeah, Britt posted some nice pictures of it. For anyone who thinks that this isn't real, it is. But at no point did she post a picture of Adam with the leg exposed.
Dang.
Just the feet. Could have been anybody's foot.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We've seen people take other X-rays, even though I think that's against HIPAA laws, but I digress. And
So I think that Max is going to lose the belts, and like I said, it's just going to further the story here. Cole's going to be like, "You needed me all along."
Okay, I'm going to try and throw a sub-tangent because as we saw on Dynamite, there's another person that decided to step into this. A new fighter has arrived, and that is one Switchblade Jay White. Switchblade Jay White is currently undefeated in AEW, has not been pinned or submitted. Former IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, former Grand Slam winner for New Japan Pro Wrestling. As we talk about Wrestle Dream here in honoring Antonio Inoki, the founding pioneer of New Japan Pro Wrestling. It's also another thing that Switchblade Jay White was attacked mysteriously by, it looks like, 4 individuals. And it's also another thing to think about that Adam Cole went backstage with Roderick Strong and the Kingdom, who he once led as Ring of Honor World Champion. On the other side of that, you have Andrade El Idolo, who tonight will be involved in Collision, taking on Rock Hard Juice Robinson, a member of Bullet Club Gold, the group that Switchblade Jay White runs. After beating Andrade last week, Switchblade Jay White, we've also heard, if you remember, we called all out, there was a certain vignette by one Tranquilo, Facción Ingobernables, Bruce, El Delistico, Preston Vance, Jose the assistant. Let's not forget Andrade Iglo. He is the guy that literally helped pioneer that, bringing Roosh in the first place to AEW at Double or Nothing last year. So at the end of the day, how many enemies are there particularly to Maxwell Jacob Freeman and his AEW title reign will approach, officially will be 1 year come full gear. There's more to this continuity in the storytelling of Maxwell Jacob Freeman holding on to that chip in the Beer World 2024. That meets the eye just with Adam Cole, baby, JJ. And that's why I actually like this, because it's another sub-tangent. After all, MJF has not only defended the AEW World Championship at the biggest event in wrestling history, AEW in Wembley Stadium, he also defended successfully against Samoa Joe, a match 7 years in the making. Most recently, you and I called it at Grand Slam. So the fact that he hasn't defended on the All Out pay-per-view or this pay-per-view, I give him a buy because he's already defended it twice within the span of time of both these pay-per-views. Because the last thing you want to do, I think, is overbook your world champion in world championship defenses in a quick sprint. And there's a lot more storytelling right now with Maxwell Jacob Freeman and the AEW World Championship even not being defended. That has to count for something.
Agreed. And that also goes further into my point of thinking that this is a kayfabe injury.
Mm-hmm.
If Adam Cole, baby, was seriously injured, I don't think they would be doing a thing for the straps. I think that they would either relinquish them or Tony would do his infamous I word to come up with another ROH tag champs until the belts could be defended. Mm-hmm. Which would then be, well, why can't we get Max versus Switchblade at this show for the AEW title? And we get another former New Japan versus AEW match. We get a world title match. But that's not the road they decided to go.
No.
I would rather see that than this match, if we're being perfectly honest.
Oh,
because I love Switchblade Jay White.
He's brilliant. He's such a counterpuncher in the ring and on the mic. I love that promo. First time ever. I love that. I dig what you're saying 100%. But yeah, at this point, it feels like the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships are a foregone conclusion. That it's weird to say MJF eats a fall, but he does need both these titles. I think we have to go with the righteous, especially after what we saw unfold Wednesday night on Dynamite, because there is a whole lot more now going for MJF to finish out his 2023 before we get to 2024. Now, whether or not he's AEW World Champion, that is truly to be decided. Now, by who? You put in the name, you fill in the box, you tell me. Thy kingdom come, thine king's will carry out. Tranquilo, Brie with a switchblade, or some other wild card. But there's a lot of interesting things right now going for the World Championship underneath this match that's booked for Wrestle Dream. Why this might be a nightmare for MJF. Either way, I think, yeah, it goes to the righteous. All right. Good contest discussion there. Let's go from a non-title bout. Let's go from a title bout to non-title bout as we talk about bitter feuds, rivalries, storytelling. I don't think there's a deeper story right now than with Don Callis and his family development ever since betraying Kenny Omega and Screw, driving him in the head. As we got this very unique six-man tag. It's the Don Callis family, Sammy Guevara, and the current IWGP United Kingdom heavyweight champion Will Ospreay, crowns up, and the Alpha, now known, Konosuke Takeshita, taking on, still right now it seems, Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega. I'm pretty sure it's the first time ever they've come together as a tag team. Never thought I'd say that in a sentence. Then again, I never thought Okada and Tanahashi would, so there you go. And fellow golden lover of Kenny Omega, Kota Ibushi, if he remembers where Japan is versus Seattle after getting a curling dumbbell to the head. Damn. Although this is the guy that also has no neck. So he's like Bruce Lee, just flows like water. You can't keep him down. And I want to see Murder Ibushi versus Konosuke Takeshita. There, I said it. Okay, so as we know, Sammy Guevara is the newest member of the Don Callis family. He pulled a WrestleMania 19 against Chris Jericho after falling short against him at Grand Slam. And Don Callis right now is really destroying everything that has had some sort of connection with him in the past. Starting with Kenny Omega, now Chris Jericho is an accessory. And Will Ospreay, mutual business interest. Because Will Ospreay right now is one of the best professional wrestlers this year after beating Kenny Omega, Kazuchika Okada, and Chris Jericho in the span of 2 months. He has the whole entire industry in his hands. And he also will be defending the IWGP United Kingdom Championship upcoming at Rev Pro on pay-per-view against another person we'll talk about here very soon. I look at this, though, and right now I think everything's going in favor of the family, with the Alpha being the strongest booked, it seems, for something big down the line in AEW. But when do you give the good guys here a bone? Can the egos coexist when you talk about Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho? I know we're going to get a preview of that tonight, though, on Collision. This is one of those matches that I think is very interesting, because while I think Kota Ibushi is the one guy you would think that probably would eat the fall here, considering he already got blasted in the head. All it's going to take is a knockout knee from Konosuke as he beat Kenny Omega with that JJ. You also have to add factor that Sammy Guevara right now, he needs to put stock into himself being part of this family after losing to Jericho. So in theory, he's kind of the one that needs to get the decisive fall here, maybe with Jericho himself. And a little bit of subtle backtelling for you for the future. Chris Jericho has faced Konosuke Takeshita upcoming in Deadlock Pro Wrestling. So, JJ, what's your thoughts on this whole six-man tag and the Don Callis family agenda? And does the Invisible Hand continue to carry out his plan strongly with his family and victory?
Well, I do want to correct you on one thing. This is not going to be the first time that Omega and Jericho team. It'll be the second, as they are actually teaming up tonight on Collision.
Oh, yeah. Context.
Botch.
Yeah, I forgot.
But,
that's fair.
But I completely agree with you, man. I mean, I think Sammy Guevara needs this. More than Jericho, more than Omega, and definitely more than Ibushi.
Mm-hmm.
And as great as it would be for Sammy to vanquish Jericho in this match, I almost would rather see Sammy pin Ibushi because of the fact that Jericho and Omega are AEW regulars.
Fair.
He's got time to pin those guys. But you get Guevara a pin over Ibushi, and that's going to instantaneously put some eyes on him.
It's fair.
And then maybe on Dynamite for the 4th anniversary, you give him a victory over either Omega or Jericho, leading to the final boss of sorts being at Full Gear. All with, of course, the Callis family shenanigans helping him along the way between Callis himself, between Takeshita, possibly Osprey if he hangs around for a minute. I mean, we know he's going to be in Chicago later in October, so he may stay stateside for a few weeks instead of traveling back to Japan and then back to stateside. You know, he may be in town for the better part of this next month, so we may actually get some him on AEW or even Impact Television.
Right.
So I say let the heels take this one. We're still really kind of placing the roots of this Callis family and trying to grow it into what I'm sure is going to be just this unstoppable dynamic that AEW is going to have to come together to vanquish. But you need those early on victories. And Takeshita has been holding it down, but now he's got Osprey, even if only temporary. Now he's got Guevara. They need a firm and decisive victory.
I wonder if Sammy gave Will Ospreay that apology that the Will Ospreay asked for after beating Yoda Suji, successfully defending his IWGP United Kingdom Championship at Destruction. But yeah, it's just one of those things right now that everything's been going in favor of Don Callis. And remember, Don Callis picked Kota Ibushi as the next target, say he's going to take the heart from Kenny Omega at the expense of his golden lover. They already took some of his brain cells. And again, that knockout knee strike, if Konosuke hits Kota Ibushi with that knockout knee, it's good night, Golden Star. It wouldn't surprise me because of the forefront, again, it is truly Don Callis and Kenny Omega that Konosuke actually gets the pinfall here over Ibushi because that was the entire MO in the first place. But yeah, this feels like for me, despite the fact the show is called Wrestle Dream, this is a Kenny Omega nightmare. I think it is more so in favor right now of the Don Callis family winning. It's going to be
and let me just say, I was already looking forward to this match. And then they announced Osprey as their third man and just exponentially
elevated as this theme goes. Fair enough.
I've been very critical of Guevara over the last year plus, and he's very slowly starting to win me over with his in-ring work. I know Josh Mansfield will pop hardcore for that when he hears it. But yeah, I'm starting to get to the point where I can put the personal life aside for Guevara and look at his in-ring ability, and the kid has got skill. And you put him alongside Takeshita and Osprey, and that's just a fierce dynamic. Whereas on the other side, you can almost say that Omega is starting to get past his prime. Jericho has been past his prime, although still able to hold his own, way past his prime. Ibushi, still don't know a whole lot about him, but figure Omega is starting to hit that downward slide of his career. Jericho's been on that trajectory. The other side, the heel side, they're all still on that upward climb.
That's good. That's a good point. And again, AEW is all about grooming their young talent. As we've seen, several of these young talents are literally involved at this pay-per-view. So I definitely understand where you're coming from. And again, going from Chris Jericho since day one to now Don Callis, that's a very interesting mentorship dynamic or a paradigm shift, give us soon, Moxley, for Sammy Guevara's career, to say the least. Plus, he has a baby coming. Congratulations, Will Ospreay. He's more focused on family. So there is a lot more of a family dynamic besides the heel characters of AEW in the Don Callis family. And then you have Konosuke Takeshita, the alpha, who at this point Don Callis is trying to turn into the first alpha, better than Kenny Omega. And that's a high bar to set. But I digress. But speaking of which, talking about personal animosity, talk about family, talk about elevation, growth, evolution, rise to the occasion. Boy, oh boy, you can say a lot about this individual, can't you? Because Eddie Kingston is now defending 2 titles. He is a double champion. Eddie Kingston defends the Ring of Honor World Championship and NW Strong Openweight Championship against the Ring of Honor Pure Champion Katsuyori Shibata after overcoming his rival Claudio Castagnoli in what feels like 18 odd years of unsettled business and not found respect. We've seen how far Eddie Kingston particularly has grown. He shook the man's hand. He beat him one-on-one fair and square in the middle of the ring. Claudio Castagnoli even accepted that as he had his moment at Grand Slam in front of his family. Winning the title, he held up to the regards of Low-Key, Homicide, and RIP Xavier. Then you have Katsuyori Shibata, who almost lost his damn brain and life back at Sakura Genesis 2017, fighting would never wrestle again, and he is one of the best Ring of Honor Pure champions I've ever seen, yet still use a single rope break and is back full gear in the industry. This is going to be a very mutual respectful bout, but it's one of those things right now that Nick Kingston says he now is going to focus primarily on AEW after coming back from injuries and surgeries and also signing a new deal. Congrats to him. Well deserved. It goes to show that, hey, even if you don't think you belong here, even if you don't fit the mold of the industry, even if others think that you don't have that potential, all you got to do is prove it to yourself if you still fight your demons to this day, that Eddie Kingston has admitted. This is a unique match, JJ, but when you think about how long Katsuyori Shibata relied on the King's strong style, Antonio Inoki, of course, inspired that for Karl Gotch, and Eddie Kingston, of course, follows the King's Road, opposite style. That's like pro wrestling Noah to a degree. It's two different disciplines, but it's still a united front of honor and respect. But it's also Eddie Kingston's second Ring of Honor Championship defense after a great bout with your boy, Rock Romero, last night on Rampage. I think this could have shades of what happened with Eddie Kingston versus Konosuke Takeshita on Rampage. They fight the hell of each other. PK, spinning Hurricane, knockout, Eddie Kingston falls to the cover. I think Eddie Kingston retains. But what's your take on this match?
You're going to sit here and try to make me say something positive about Eddie Kingston, aren't you?
Well, I'm not going to force you. Who am I to do that? It's free will.
I think Eddie retains primarily because of the fact that he just got the belts. I mean, if I'm being honest, I'm still fairly clueless when it comes to Shibata.
I respect that.
And I don't think they're going to give Eddie this belt just to take it off of him right away. So Eddie retains. I hate to say it. I don't think he should be champion yet. I don't think he should be a double champion. Eddie retains.
The fact of the matter that he also has the NW Strong Championship, and being Kenta, who will also be involved in Impact Wrestling's Bound for Glory, taking on Chris Sabin for the SW Championship. Hell yes. Hell Sabin. It's also, it goes back to that another merit where he says pro wrestling saved his life, and I think Corrigan Hall was his sanctuary. What I wouldn't give to see a freaking New Japan Pro Wrestling or Stardom show or Pro Wrestling Noah show in Corrigan Hall right now. I swear. But anyway, yeah, and it's a unique thing because, again, you and I were talking about it a little bit. We thought they were going to somehow push this out to Final Bout. You and I at least were even teasing the idea of a 30-minute draw. Shades of what happened with Kenny Omega and one individual we're going to talk about here that's also coming home to Seattle, the American Dragon. To see Eddie Kingston now as the Ring of Honor World Champion and a champion for NJPW is a very unique dynamic. And I do wonder how far he could go with both. If it wasn't for the fact that both titles were on the line here, I probably would have gone with Shibata because I think Shibata proved, hey, guys, you don't think I can wrestle? Look what I'm doing. Watch me. So, again, I want Shibata to further transcend the Pure Championship, but I think he could also be a great NW Strong champion. But the Ring of Honor World title here, to see Shibata Triple Crown, that'd be the shock of the weekend for me. Not that I'm saying he can't do it, but Eddie Kingston just got this. I can't go against right now this man's momentum and passion. Yeah, I gotta say Eddie Kingston retains, but it's gonna be a very respectable bout and a very physical bout. And that's what I love about pro wrestling, damn it. But I digress. Yeah. Alrighty, let's go ahead and move things. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not AEW Unrestricted, but welcome to the Renegade Released. Are you ready to have some fun? We have a fatal four-way for the number one contendership for the AEW World Tag Team Championships anytime the winners want. It is the Young Bucks, the former AEW World Tag Team Champions, two-time, might I add, The Guns, former AEW Tag Team Champions that lost them to FTR after beating them for those titles. The Lucha Brothers, who are former AEW Tag Team Champions after beating Jurassic Express. And might I add, they're also former Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions. And the unique wild card pairing here of the FTW Champion and the former AEW National Champion, Hook and Orange Cassidy. And again, folks, look at the marquee. The winner of this Fatal 4-Way number one contendership match can call their shot for the AEW Tag Team Championships anytime they want. Again, there are 3 sets of former AEW Tag Team Champions here and a unique odd couple that's never had a chance at those titles. So, does history repeat, or do we once again usher in something new and see if something cold-hearted and freshly squeezed can possibly win a pair of tag straps too? JJ, the floor is yours on this Fatal 4-Way, my friend. Give us your take and your pick. We're at the 3-minute mark, so I'm just going to sit back.
Well, nobody is super chatted $20, so I'm not going to get rated R here.
You poor folks. I understand the end of the month
but,
and everything, but anyway, JJ, your thoughts.
The bottom line is this, and I heard what you said on the No DQ predictions panel, and how you don't give a damn about geography lessons.
No.
Or any of that stuff. But the bottom line, my brother, is that the winner of this match can call their shot at any point in time.
Yes.
AEW is coming for full gear in Los Angeles at the Forum. And the Dynamite prior to that, they're going to be at the Toyota Arena in Ontario, California, which is literally about 10 minutes from Rancho Cucamonga.
The Young Bucks home.
The Bucks are going to take this match. They're going to call their shot for one of those 2 locations, and they're going to become the AEW Tag Team Champions. As much as I hate it, as much as I want to vomit saying it, because fuck those little shits.
Oh my.
But the bottom line is that the EVPs are going to book themselves to take this and take it all the way to the bank. And they're either going to have a Kevin Steen, El Generico, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn moment at the Forum.
PWD represent.
Or they're going to have it in their hometown of Ontario, California. Again, right down the street from Rancho Cucamonga. It literally used to take me 10 minutes from where I lived in Rancho to drive to that arena. That is how close it is to Rancho Cucamonga.
The fact you're talking about a comfortable travel experience in California speaks volumes.
Yeah. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. But facts are facts are facts. They started the year as trios champions. They're going to end the year as trios for Ring of Honor and AEW tag champions.
Okay. Well, again, I'm simple. I'm different. I believe in change. I believe you try and usher in a new era with new challengers and new champions. I believe you break the status quo. I'm not gambling any sort of dance routine on here either or anything like that. I still stand in my belief that I want to see a first time ever encounter with Hook and Orange Cassidy. And I don't think the Young Bucks need the AEW title champions if they're already champions for Ring of Honor. As you said, they are 2/3 of the Ring of Honor Trios champions. And also, Nick Jackson will be facing Ray Phoenix for the second time ever one-on-one action for the AEW National Championship this week on AEW Dynamite anniversary show Wednesday night.
Absolutely. And Nick Jackson is going to more than likely take the title off the guy who wasn't supposed to win it in the first fucking place.
Oh, JJ. To put all the freaking AEW Fight Forever being played, to put all the belts on the Bucks.
I'm telling you, dude, I hate it. but I see this as kind of a great big fuck you to everybody that supported CM Punk in AEW.
All right. Well, again,
Hangman Adam Page came out, ran his mouth, alluding to the Punk era without flat out saying it.
right.
Because he can't just let shit go now that Punk is gone. And the EVPs are going to book themselves to be this strong entity. They can't book everybody because then it's going to be super duper obvious. But the same guys that took the victory lap in Chicago on Collision, the very first Collision without CM Punk, are going to be the same guys that are going to just belt up here.
I can't wait to see the result of this match, and if it doesn't happen, what JJ's reaction is going to be.
If it doesn't happen, I'm going to be thanking the Lord. But I just see it happening, Noah. The AEW is way more, oh, we're in the hometown, let's put so-and-so over mentality than WWE is. And with the fact that they've got not one, not two, but 3 shows coming up in that area, because Collision is going to be on Friday, the night before Full Gear, at the Forum.
Oh, dear. Double booking.
3 opportunities to take advantage of the Bucks in their hometown and create that moment.
We'll see.
Just saying, bro.
I look. I hear you all, and I'm just saying too. I stand by my merit. Jerry Slaughter isn't the only one that could think differently, like Apple did. I believe in what I believe in. So again, seeing as believing, we'll see soon enough. So we will cover all of it. Actually, I don't think we're covering anniversary. We're covering the Thanksgiving one. Excuse me, botch. But
I haven't
anyway,
seen a graphic for the anniversary one, which is why. But I'm down to do it.
I mean, we already got one title match, and we know the following week on Title Tuesday. Spoiler alert for a Rampage, folks. It'll be, by the way, great match, Ruby Soho and Shida. It'll be a Carl Shida.
Don't get me started on that whole thing, because you couldn't put the women's title match on WrestleDream.
No.
You couldn't put the women's title match on the 4th anniversary of Dynamite. No. We're going to create this Title Tuesday bullshit and put it on there. So clearly the women's title isn't that fucking important.
I don't know what goes through TK's mind, but I'll say it. I said it once. I'll say it again. TK's not the guy to book women's wrestling. They need someone like Serena Deeb or Gail Kim or somebody with that type of mentality. I'm not saying he's a bad person, but at the end of the day, in a male-dominated industry, I don't think a male can properly book women in wrestling.
No. And let me just state before we move on.
Go ahead.
I would rather anybody else in this match win. But you're asking me to essentially bet, because this is a pool that we do.
Yeah, for fun. But yeah.
The Young Bucks going into this match are like Roman Reigns going into a match at this point. You just don't bet on them, bet against them.
Hey, don't get me started on that sub-tangent.
Give me Hook and Cassidy.
Please.
Give me the Guns.
That'd be interesting.
Give me the Lucha Brothers. The Bucks are at the bottom of my list of anybody I would like to see with a tag team championship. But they're coming to LA. They're coming to Ontario.
Well, as we enter October, I guess for the AEW Tag Team Division, unless you say Young Bucks, according to JJ and Geography, it's game over. So again, I guess we'll see soon enough. Live or die, theoretically, by your choices. AEW fans, wrestling fans, sports entertaining enthusiasts. Hi, Paula. please keep in mind, folks, the personal opinions of the people here, part of the Division Motive of Media, does not reflect everybody's opinions, as some people have deeper roots with the talent than you see. Thank you. All right. Well, good chat, good talk. And again, we'll see what happens. The beauty of a fatal four-way, you have anybody can take advantage at any time. And again, at one point, Orange Cassidy and Danhausen almost won the freaking tag titles earlier this year at Revolution. It was a sleeper match, and that involved Jeff Jarrett. And I was berating that match, and even I'll say it, I was impressed by all four teams. So again, we'll see what happens. Speaking of being impressed, and speaking of original homegrown talent, and speaking of showcasings, I think this is going to be absolutely violent. But as Wheeler Yuta stepped up to the occasion against Jon Moxley in front of Lord Regal and found his way in Blackpool Combat, kind of really resurged his career, I think I believe Ricky Starks is going to once again rebound after the two wars with the American Dragon Bryan Danielson. And I don't think he's going to stay down either, but he's going to make sure that Yuta does. It's Ricky Starks versus Wheeler Yuta one-on-one. It's one of those matches that you're like, okay, it's kind of here, but you're not exactly sure what to expect, but it could surprise you. Again, this is two AEW homegrown original talents. Ricky Starks, of course, coming off two crazy-ass matches, a strap match and a Texas death match against the American Dragon Bryan Danielson. Wheeler Yuta's been involved in every possible violent, skin-breaking, bone-smashing gimmick match possible in AEW this year, whether it was Stadium Stampede, freaking Blood and Guts, Arcade Anarchy, you tell me. And he's constantly gone back up on the occasion. He is also a former Ring of Honor Pure champion. At this point, these two right now, they're looking for a reset button. And both these men have also been in the ring against Maxwell Jacob Friedman. On paper, this feels like Ricky Starks is using this as a rebound point in his continued war against AEW. But it was Bryan Danielson that extended the olive branch of respect and the shirt of the Blackpool Combat Club to Ricky Starks. Am I saying Ricky Starks needs them? Absolutely not. Ricky Starks stands out on his own. Would it be good for him? Possibly, underneath those minds and underneath that influence. And I gotta consider right now, he's gonna probably have Big Bill in his corner. Would Wheeler Yuta, though, have Claudio Castagnoli in his corner? It still remains to be seen. JJ, what's your thoughts on what truly is a simple singles exhibition here with Wheeler Yuta and Ricky Starks?
I love both these guys. I really do. I think Wheeler Yuta is just a great sound technical beast.
Accurate.
And Ricky Starks is that charismatic, it's the Rock and Triple H. Ricky Starks is like a modern Rock, and Wheeler Yuta, being a student of the game, is kind of a modern Triple H. And I feel like this could just be the beginning of something beautiful between these two. But at the end of the day, I think Ricky needs this more. Because Ricky is on that upwards trajectory, whereas Yuta has kind of been stagnant for a little bit. Mm-hmm. And he's okay kind of being in that middle of the road. Ricky Starks needs that recovery after the whole thing with Punk kind of fell apart. Mm-hmm. And the thing with Danielson has been great. Get past Yuta, just continue that upward momentum. Got Claudio Castagnoli. Then you just break away from the BCC altogether.
Well, Yuta goes on his own, maybe an excursion of sorts.
No. I'm saying as far as Starks goes.
Oh, I see. But the whole feud.
Starks has already defeated Danielson.
Yeah.
Have him defeat Yuta. Have him defeat Claudio. And then just kind of go on from there.
Oh, my God. Ricky Starks versus Claudio Castagnoli? Do you want him to uppercut him into oblivion?
Why not? He's a former world champion.
That's fair.
Granted, Ring of Honor, but still. Hey. I would throw him in there with Mox, but we don't know how long Mox is going to be out of action.
That's true. And by the way, Jon Moxley, get well soon.
If Mox is back in time, then have Mox be final boss as far as BCC goes, because Claudio was only ROH champion. Mox was an AEW champion.
multiple times. He literally brought that title out of the dark and into the light. I honestly wonder if that promo last year fall actually didn't happen, would AEW still stand where it is today with the AEW World Championship in the light that it's at? But I digress. Again, it's a very, very fair point. Again, Rick Stocks, I mean, literally, the guy could own this whole industry. He has every tool,
Absolutely.
every damn tool. So I'm looking very forward to this match. But speaking of singles matches, speaking about, picking your spot, showing that you're not content, showing how hungry you are, showing how bad you want this, we're going to go get into some cowboy shiznak in whose house? Swerve's house, as we are home in Seattle, where he looks to defy, again, JJ, another Ring of Honor World Champion. It is Swerve Strickland who signed the contract in blood. Ouch. After getting stabbed in the hand with a pen by the Hangman, Adam Page, who for the longest time has finally gotten a fire light up on his backside. Yes, he is also the other third, of the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions, and Prince Nana has not been in the money. But I think here is very pinnacle for both men. I think it's going to show really how both men go forward. Hangman, is he just going to continue to coast? Or is Swerve actually going to bring something else out of him and further his own stock? Swerve said himself, he wants to be a main eventer. He wants to be in that spot. He's sacrificed family and friends. He has given it all to this. And the fact that he literally has swerved into a program against Hangman after what happened at AEW All In just goes to show when it comes to Swerve's mentality of making enemies of everybody. But that being said, JJ, this is a very unique first time ever one-on-one encounter. And again, it rains a lot in Seattle. I think it's going to be a very dark, stormy day for the Hangman Adam Page. And I think we're going to shine bright in Swerve's house tomorrow night. What's your take on this singles encounter?
I completely agree with you on this one. I picked the Bucks to win, much to my chagrin. But I think the Hangman is going to eat some cowboy shit in Seattle. He's going to take the fall. We're going to make Swerve Strickland tomorrow.
And then they'll be in the money. The fact that he stopped the Prince Nana dance, people are like, blasphemy! Hey,
absolutely, man. Absolutely. And if you want to see Noah do the Prince Nana dance, we're going to have to get some super chats. We'll have him do it again on open mic night tonight.
Stop it. Stop it.
We'll have you mix. If we can get $50 in super chats,
why?
We will have you mix the Carlton, the Prince Nana dance, and Daniel Garcia's woo.
What the hell, JJ? What the hell? I haven't done DDR since my PS2, and you're trying to give me all these TikTok and freaking sitcom. What? I know if Fonzo Bray hosts Dance with the Stars. I don't dance. I'm the simple man. I do commentary. I do wrestling analysis. Damn it. Stop it. It's the end of the month, too, so hopefully everyone's just paid their bills and nobody has money right now because that's a whole nother thing as we are on the last day. So, JJ, that got it. That got it. That's going to...
It is the last day. That's why I'm trying to put it out there. It's the last day to get some money coming in for me and Jeff to make sure we get our payouts next month.
The things I do for friends. Well, this is not going to be a friendly encounter, to say the least. And
this is going to be brutal. This is going to be knockdown, drag out. As much as I can't stand the guy, Adam Page has proven he deserves main event spotlights. Swerve still is working on proving that. Mm-hmm. And I think that this is going to be his time to shine. And we will truly see that it is Swerve's house.
Yeah. It's going to be a good match. I'm looking forward to this match. I really am. All right. But now we're going to get into what I saved as the top 4 matches. I think all 4 of these matches are truly serious business. And it doesn't get more pinnacle in tag team professional wrestling. Damn it! But I digress than this. Top guys of the industry, the best tag team going today in all professional wrestling. There, I said it. Cash Wheeler, Dax Harwood, FTR, the current AEW World Tag Team Champions, taking on 1 year to the day their greatest rivals, possible equals in these two adversaries. Aussie Open crowns representing United Empire. I am, of course, talking about Mark Davis and Kyle Fletcher. If you have not gone to NW World's YouTube channel or NWWorld.com to look at their initial first time ever bout, 38-minute classic last year at Royal Quest 2, you owe it to yourselves because Dax Harwood is pleading, begging. He gets that mean, brash, violent, absolutely brutal, badass bastards out of these guys that can dethrone them. When FTR literally said they could be the greatest tag team of all time next to them, they mean it. This is Aussie Open's trial by fire. It could be their last chance. It is a match literally 1 year in the making. Reflective retrospectives. FTR, they've been the NXT, Ring of Honor, Raw, and SmackDown, when those titles actually mattered. Tag team champions, AEW tag team champions currently, AAA tag team champions, IWGP Heavyweight tag team champions. Why Aussie Open has defined tag team wrestling of a similar scale. Been OTT, WXW, Red Pro, IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Champions, and Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions. It is either top guys or crowns up tomorrow night at WrestleDream in the pinnacle of tag team wrestling. JJ, your thoughts on this tag title contest? Who leads with the straps?
Well, I'm going to say this. If there's one match, and please don't take this the wrong way, but if there's one match where I don't give a shit the outcome of, it's this one right here.
Completely
because
agree.
I will be happy if FTR retains. I will be happy if Aussie Open wins.
Regains.
But
Gold.
at the end of the day, there's more money between the Young Bucks and FTR than there is between the Young Bucks and Aussie Open. Period. Point blank. FTR retains.
Well,
but if I get to throw my crowns up, I will be happy as hell too.
Aussie, Aussie, Aussie. You already know what I said during the freaking no DQ predictions. I'll say it once. I'll say it again. There's a reason why FTR started this escapade of young, hungry tag teams to try and dethrone them. Prove that you want to be the greatest tag team by being the greatest tag team in professional wrestling going today. Aussie Open is the closest next bet after overcoming the Iron Savages and the Workhorse. By the way, men like JD Drake should not be able to do a perfect moonsault like that. That was effing ridiculous. I'm just going to put that out there right now. Workhorsemen are truly what they are. What a unique tag duo, but that's a different conversation. Aussie Open for me, they have to be the next guys to try and beat the top guys and lead their own way, pave their own path in this industry. The fact they were on top of the world with the NWW Strong Openweight and the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Champions, only to relinquish them at Resurgence JJ. We saw it live due to Mark Davis' injury, coming back meaner, hungrier than ever. It's got to be Aussie Open's time. And they are signed to AEW after Tony Khan literally put the money in for Mark Davis' surgery. It is their moment. They deserve it. WrestleDream is about defining the strongest, honoring Antonio Inoki. Antonio Inoki, for those that don't know, did have quite an escapade as a tag team specialist as well. He covered all the styles of professional wrestling. This match is going to just make Antonio Inoki grin ear to ear if he can. Well, I guess now he can because forever exalted in heaven. But for me, Aussie Open just freaking needs to win. Now, Walter here with the thought, if Aussie wins, then Bucks are beating them at AEW. We make it painfully obvious if they do that. Well, again, the thing about AEW I've noticed at times, but more so particularly Impact Wrestling, they're not as obvious initially as meets the eye. Geography lesson aside, I get that. I'm holding it out that I think AEW will surprise us before the end of 2023, particularly when it comes to the AEW Tag Team Championships and who holds them in tag team wrestling. It starts here with Aussie Open resetting the division as the new, first time ever, AEW Tag Team Champions. Then you have them either go up against the Guns, and you see if you get Bullet Club Gold versus United Empire, or you have them go up against the Lucha Brothers, who, of course, the Lucha Brothers and Aussie Open, they're no strangers to each other based on their time in Ring of Honor, fighting over the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships. And then, of course, you have, like I said, Orange Cassidy and Hook. Orange Cassidy beat Kyle Fletcher in singles, defending his AEW National Championship. Hook has never met anybody like Kyle Fletcher or Mark Davis in the ring. There is more possibilities in Aussie Open resetting this division, rightfully so and deserving at this moment, proven that they can hold this torch as the AEW Tag Team Champions. So I am still sticking with Aussie Open, crowns up.
Okay.
and I am so looking forward to this match. Again,
Me
this
too.
this could be my tag team wrestling title match of the year, and that says a lot. From the Motion Machine Guns to the Usos to Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, who had a moment, but again, WWE dropped the ball. Go figure. Again, Ring of Honor, you think about the rivalries that FTR's been through, whether it's the Briscoes, whether it's DIY, just saying. Again, FTR has defined their legacy. They even said last year was about defining their legacy. This year now, we're going to see if somebody can literally surpass their legacy. And it starts by beating them and starting their own. Aussie Open needs to do that. All right. Well, let's go ahead and keep moving forward. We talk about defining yourself. We're going to see truly if somebody more than woman can beat somebody now that is more than what she ever was before, because this right here is pinnacle, and I do mean that quite literally, in the AEW women's division with two homegrown talents. On the only women's contest booked for this show, that's a rant for another day. Stay tuned for the state of the women's wrestling in the industry with me and JJ on Open Mic Night, date to be determined. As the TBS Championships on the line is the undefeated Chris Statlander, who has held this title now for 125 days, going in her 12th defense, who is 14-0 this year, JJ, 6 years in her wrestling career, already overcoming the likes of Mercedes Martinez, Taya Valkyrie, Nyla Rose, Emi Sakura, Ruby Soho, Jade Cargill, Thunder Baker, DMD, all for the title, might I add. Overcoming now, taking on Julia Hart for the third time ever in her career. Julia Hart, 3 years into her game, looking to rise to her full potential. The last time these two met was in Dark Elevation, April 2022. The first time ever encounter was AEW Dark, April 2021, and that was back when Julia Hart, both times, was just a simple little cheerleader showing team spirit. Well, now she shows nothing but a heartless persona. Has been her strongest evolution ever. She's overcome the likes of Anna Jay, Sky Blue, Kara Hogan, Willow Nightingale, and is on a record right now this year alone of 11-0 with over 24 straight singles wins. As one proves she is more than woman, the other one is looking to prove she is more than just a little girl, as we are looking to see if a princess of the Black Throne will be crowned. So, JJ, I leave it to you. Is stats still where it's at, or do we get a new TBS champion? For is it true, does the house always win?
Well, Noah, you know that I have never been too, I won't say fond of Stat, but I've never backed her the way that you do. I feel like her run has just been lukewarm at best. I won't say completely cold, but lukewarm at best. Maybe because she got injured and they couldn't pull the trigger back when they wanted to with her. But I feel like she's had a decent enough run. I feel like you really need to do something with the House of Black. Ever since they lost their trios titles, they've just kind of been stagnant. And Julia Hart is 27-0 right now.
Yep.
You know, and while it's not quite 60-0, it's a nice little run to be going on here.
Yeah, and Brody King even said Chris is the final boss, the one win she has yet to get, and truly her last loss.
So I think we have a new TBS champion.
Ooh. All right. Don't you love when professional wrestling allows two different sides of a conversation in just pure fun talk and not calling somebody a mark because you have a dictionary friggin' philosophy of a third grader, you fucking idiots. Okay, so here's the thing. Hi, Jeff. I said what I said.
I wonder who that's a shot at, Noah.
If you know, you know. All right, so here's my thoughts on this. I think these two are very pinnacle in the future direction of the AEW women's division. I think both have definitely proved a point that they want to progress not only themselves, but this division. And Chris Statlander, she's put it on herself to be that person, to use everybody else as an example, why she is champion. She doesn't want to do it against Julia Hart, but that's what she has to do. That is her job, and that's what she needs to do. She's going to hold the original non-custom TBS championship, the very title she took from that bitch, and is trying to elevate as you alluded to. While Julia Hart, if you looked at the countdown, she talked about detecting lies behind the mask. And again, reaching her full potential, exposing all so they could see exactly you are more. This is Julia Hart's biggest test in her career to date. Ever since joining the House of Black last year, we've seen a complete 360. Ever since Chris Statlander went more than woman last year after AEW Full Gear, I believe, into AEW Revolution last year, we've seen a complete transformation. And since coming back from injury, she's been on an unstoppable rampage, rightfully so, as the TBS champion. There has not been a draw yet in TBS title history versus the other titles we'll talk about in our main event. I think there's more than meets the eye, despite the fact that Miss might be involved here, as Willow and Sky Blue, than just a one-off with these two. I think this is a longer-term program. And that's why I feel like right now that Chris Statlander is going to test Julia Hart's potential to the fullest. But I think Chris Statlander will escape and maybe survive Julia Hart. I think Julia Hart's going to test Chris Statlander a different way. We've seen how much Julia Hart's been able to progress in ring as well with the help of Brody King after that picture-perfect moonsault on Willow Nightingale. So she can win both ways. Both women are technically sound and physically capable. But as I said, Chris Statlander, she is the powerhouse. It's overcoming the bigger adversary versus the bigger mind game. That's the contest. That's the story of this match. And I gotta consider, is Brody King going to still be involved on Julia Hart's behalf? Now, truth be told, he hasn't been getting physically involved, but there's no doubt in my mind the presence of Brody King adds to the confidence of Julia Hart and I think the strength of her mind games. Either way, I still think Stat right now is where it's at as the holder of the TBS strap. But I think that Julia Hart could very well be next. I just don't think it's here in what's going to be the most important match in Julia Hart's career. Show your potential and own it, but I don't think she comes out with the championship yet. I got Chris Statlander retaining, and this very well could be a very underrated match on this card that surpasses our expectations.
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, like you pointed out, you've got to wonder if the House of Black are going to play into things on the outside. Mm-hmm. If they do come into play, what is Stat's counter to that?
Exactly. So, the best friends are going to be taking on Next Strong. That's so stupid. The Kingdom tonight on Collision. And Orange Cassidy, he's already going to have a bout. And Orange Cassidy, truly Chris Statlander's best friend, is going to have his own business to deal with as well. If I was these two, I'd truly take care of business on your own. I think it would also be a true test to Julia Hart's growth if Brody King not only escorts her, but personally, they just mutually respect. Brody King walks away, true one-on-one contest. Because Julia Hart doesn't need Brody King. She's proved that. She doesn't need to be physically involved. The presence adds to maybe the confidence. But I think Julia Hart right now is out to really prove a point that she is more than just a little girl. She is the one that could be more than woman and possibly our next TBS champion. This one's one of those that could be in the way, and I'd be happy with it too, Walter. I'm looking very forward to it. Like I said, the reason why I save these bottom 5 matches, JJ, I think so far I'm on point. And the fact of the matter that this is not the main event, based on the story that's going to close this show, I respect their choice. But this might as well be semi-main if you know what I mean. Walter, you asked about it. Here it is. I don't know when it's going to take place on this card, but it might as well be the semi-main event in my opinion. Because using a William Shakespeare-esque philosophy of his last Odyssey, talking about Odysseus that took on the Hydra, that took on the Trojan War. Again, I'm not that familiar with Greek mythology. Sorry, folks. Bottom line, this is Bryan Danielson, the American Dragon, taking on, finally, 1 year in waiting at this day and age of both these men's illustrious careers. The NJPW World Television Champion, there is no one else like him in the world professional wrestling that wrestles like him, Zack Sabre Jr. Tomorrow, we finally find out who truly is the best technical wrestler. The added caveat to the emotional turmoil versus the human drug manipulation we're going to see, this is Bryan Danielson's final countdown. Come next year, he has done full-time in professional wrestling to be a father for his daughter, to focus on his family. Mad fucking respect. Bryan Danielson, 23-year veteran, JJ. He has currently faced Zack Sabre Jr. back in 2008 in a 2-out-3 falls match. He won 2-1. They met again in 2009 at WXW. Zack Sabre Jr. got the better of the American Dragon. Zack Sabre Jr., 19-year veteran, trained by the likes of Marufuji from Pro Wrestling Noah, He is a 4-time Red Pro British Heavyweight Champion and currently has 14 successful defenses with the NWA World Television Champion, leader of TMDK. This is the personification of technical wrestling. We just called Eddie Guerrero versus Chris Jericho at freaking Fall Brawl. I'm just going to put that in perspective. When you come to technicians, like Antonio Inoki, who's being honored, you think about people like the Hart Foundation, Bret Hart, Owen Hart, Chris Benoit. Yes, I said his name. Kurt freaking Angle. These guys are going to give us a master class on technical wrestling. JJ, your thoughts on this truly first time, I gotta imagine, only and last time singles dream match. Breathe it in, man.
As silly as this is going to sound to say, I really feel it comes down to this.
Please do.
If Bryan Danielson comes out to the final countdown, he's winning. If he doesn't, he's losing.
Now, are you saying that because the one note I didn't say, this is Bryan Danielson's hometown?
I remember distinctly when they did the scrum after Forbidden Door, and they talked about not disclosing the amount, but what they paid, they were able to secure Final Countdown for 2 uses.
Correct.
They've used it both times already. Depending on what that dollar amount was, I say Tony puts it up one more time, and he uses it for WrestleDream in his hometown and for his final match.
Fair.
But I feel like the final countdown has kind of been good luck for Bryan.
Also fair.
So that's why I say this match could go either way.
Yes, it truly can.
I am looking forward to seeing Zack Sabre Jr. in all of his glory wrestle the American Dragon. But if Bryan comes out in his home to Final Countdown, he is not fucking losing this match. If he comes out to Born for Greatness, I think the odds are a little bit more in Zack's favor. I'm still not 100% definite that Bryan would lose the match in his home. But I think that the odds would swing more into Zack's favor. I'm going to pick Bryan, though, to take this match. Because, again, AEW is known for putting people over in their homes. Swerve's going over, and he's a heel. Bryan's going over, and he's a face. Kind of. I mean, BCC are technically heels, but everybody fucking loves Bryan Danielson. He's like, he's the one baby face in the group. Like, when he comes out there and he helps the Combat Club attack somebody, he gets some boos. But when he comes out on his own, the crowd pops for him because they know it's fucking Bryan Danielson. So,
damn it!
It's like Rob Van Dam in The Alliance. The Alliance are freaking heels, but as soon as RVD's music came, they freaking would pop for him like crazy.
Accurate.
That's Bryan Danielson right now. It's like he's technically a heel. He's in a heel stable, but if he's out there on his own, the crowd fucking goes nuts for him.
Accurate.
So
again, yeah, and again, Bryan Danielson, he freaking beat Kazuchika Okada with a broken damn arm 10 minutes after it was already broken as the match continued. There's nothing that's stopping this man right now except the choice and mentality that next year he is stepping away in the name of being there for his family. And I absolutely respect that. But again, bloody Tekkas indeed. This is going to be a master class professional wrestling technical clinic. And again, we were supposed to get this last year for Forbidden Door. So we've been 1 year in waiting about if this was Forbidden Door last year, would we still be going the same way? Would you still go with Bryan Danielson? Would you go with Zack Sabre Jr., considering it's also AEW in-ring debut at the time? Of course, Clark Casanova, that was his in-ring debut. He beat Zack Sabre Jr. as well. So, again, it's just one of those fans where I'm just like, I'm so happy and excited. And, of course, following this, where Bryan Danielson continues his final odyssey, and nothing's going to hold him down. He's going to fight everybody possible. I can only imagine where we go from here. Zack Sabre Jr. will be facing Will Ospreay for the IWGP United Kingdom Championship at Royal Quest 3 on Rev Pro, and WWE World to see it later in October, because we're still in September as we're doing this. So, again, woofa. So, we'll see what happens here. The Mighty don't kneel, but the Mighty is going to get folded into a pretzel and still find a way to untangle himself. It's just a matter of how many different ways can you tie up Zack Sabre Jr. or knock him out, as Sabreism is strong style, for Bryan Danielson to get the win here. Or, again, to honor wrestling, he's going to go down to Blaze of Glory. You start here and you see who else can step up and overcome him. It's one of those matches that I feel like, again, it could go either way, and I don't think necessarily it could come down to the theme, although I think Final Countdown will be effing epic. We'll find out soon enough, JJ, but this is definitely, I think, my second most anticipated match of the entire night.
That's fair.
All right. Well, that being said, I appreciate everybody for tuning across the multiverse of media here at both the Cements Broadcasting Studios. Please subscribe, comment, tell a friend. Appreciate all your thoughts, and also in the comments too. As of course, we discussed Wrestle Dream, and the forum for the All Elite League for the Wrestle Dream will be available in the comments down below following Collision tonight, once I know the full card in its entirety, because there's going to be at least one match on the Zero, not two. We got the freaking claim, as we heard. Daddy has the Acclaim defending the Trios Championships against the Mighty Don't Kneel, Shane Hayes, Mikey Nichols, and Bad Dude Tito. And Nick Wayne takes on Luchasaurus. And I do wonder, is Nick Wayne going to be involved here? Is Luchasaurus going to be involved here? Is Nick Wayne's mom going to be involved here? Christian Cage, you freaking pervert.
Say hi to your mom for me.
Oh, my God. I'm just going to say this real quick before you do, of course, our transition. My dad's been dead for over 12 years. You're really pushing a nerve, and you're really messing with forces you shouldn't be messing with, mocking the dead. But that being said, JJ, you know what we're about to do.
Is it time?
Oh, it's time. It's time. Not Vader time. It is time, and that's why I don't have it going across the ticker. That's how important this is. It is time for what is officially going to be AEW Wrestle Dreams main event. Christian Cage, the true face of TNT. Now I can actually say it, as much as I don't want to. Damn it. The true TNT champion, Christian Cage, goes one-on-one with Darby Allin for the last damn fucking time. In 2 out of 3 falls, and only the better wrestler will win. Why Darby Allin says you are going to be fighting someone you've never seen before. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about Darby Allin and the TNT title and this story, where Darby Allin seeks one thing, JJ, validation. Darby Allin first won the TNT Championship against Cody Rhodes. It was November 7th, Full Gear 2020, where Darby Allin felt for the first time in his life he belonged. He arrived. He lost it to Miro when he used his 9 lives on his 9th defense. The next time he won the TNT Championship was right there in Seattle, January 4th, against Samoa Joe, but lost it shortly after then too. But Seattle is also Darby Allin's home, where he has defied himself in wrestling, along with First Strickland and a Defy Wrestling promotion. TNT title to Darby Allin means validation. For Christian Cage, it's just about cementing his legacy. On the flip side, you have Christian Cage Instant Classic. Not only has he been the self-professed face of TNT, as he says now forever, since literally June 17th, after he and Luchasaurus took the title from Wardlow, and has made it a focal point of Collision. Christian Cage now literally pinned Luchasaurus and now can truly call himself the TNT champion. After inciting everybody's father, after inciting the mentorship role of Darby Allin to Nick Wayne, after inciting the friendship of A.R. Fox, the encouragement of Buddy Wayne, after inciting Nick Wayne's mother getting involved here, and proposing that he could be a better mentor than Darby Allin, and Darby Allin just hides behind extreme circumstances, skateboard, tax, the face paint, Sting. Not half the man that he is. Will Darby Allin finally achieve validation? Will Darby Allin close the book? Will Darby Allin finish this story? Or will Christian Cage once again take one last opportunity to prove why he is the face of TNT now and forever? And also with that, extinguish any chance Darby Allin ever has of becoming the TNT champion. JJ, your thoughts. This is a Wrestle Dream main event tomorrow night. This is the man that will climb Mount Everest next year. And Willie said he will give back the title to Christian Cage if he wins it. This is Christian Cage, the savvy veteran across TNA, WWE, you name it. He's done it. He's been there, world champion, and probably the most important TNT champion since Cody Rhodes, since Darby Allin's first run, and since the late, great, forever exalted Brody Lee. In Seattle, Washington, the home of Darby Allin. Do we find validity or do we find a finality? With Christian Cage still the face of TNT, or Darby Allin for the third time, once again the holder of the TNT?
Well, my friend, I wish it was that cut and dry. I wish it was that easy.
It's not.
Because there are two very big questions that loom over this match. Does Luchasaurus turn on Christian since Christian stole the title from him? And do we hear those oh so defining words, "You think you know me," over the PA?
Let your
There's
minds think, people, in the
yeah,
comments. Let your minds think
because
for a moment.
somebody online posted something last night that really got my head thinking about Adam Copeland is all elite. And we'll get more in depth into this tonight on Open Mic Night. I want to entice you guys to come back to that show, but there were a few clues, if you will, that really made me think. And for the first time in a very long time, I started to think that maybe, just maybe, this is actually going to happen. I don't see Adam coming and screwing Christian. That wouldn't make sense. Especially when we could essentially set up Edge and Christian versus Darby and Steen at Full Gear.
Whoa. All right.
Think about that for a minute. Edge and Christian versus Darby Allin and Sting.
Edge has never interfaced with the Icon.
Edge and Christian versus the Young Bucks for the AEW tag team titles. Edge and Christian versus the Guns versus Bullet Club Gold versus FTR versus the Hardys one more time. I don't think every Seattle native is going to win. I think Captain Charisma is going to retain the TNT title. Because at the end of the day, I wasn't privy to Darby's first run where you say that he made the TNT title worth something. But Darby, to me, comes off as that guy who is so much better in the chase than as champion.
That's very fair.
Darby is that consummate, gets his fingertips on the prize just for it to get jerked out of his hands. And I think that's the way Darby needs to stay. I wouldn't mind seeing him and the Steiner as tag champs, just to give Steen one last title run before he finally hangs the boots up permanently. But and I feel like that was the problem with Adam Page's world title run. The pursuit of the title was great. Once he got the belt, the run was shit. Just like Walter says in the comments, sometimes the chase is better than actually achieving the gold.
Very fair.
Darby is the chaser. Christian retains, thanks to the debut of his kayfabe brother, Adam Copeland is All Elite.
Damn.
And again, I'll go more in depth into some of these clues on open mic night. Got to make sure people tune in.
All right. Well, on this day, JJ sees clearly what might be literally the end to WrestleDream as the era of one thing ends and a new one begins, and it might reek of awesomeness. So it's a very fair point. But without considering the Adam Copeland factor, I do think this is Darby Allin's last run, last chance, and honestly, probably his last validation. Especially the man says he is not afraid of death and is willing to climb Mount Everest next year to the point he's growing his living will. Take that for what you will. It's one of those things where Darby Allin at this point, the only thing that defies him, not just defy wrestling, the only thing that defies him is what he chooses to defy himself. And that's his own mentality. Again, Christian Cage, all about working everyone. He's worked Luchasaurus to be literally his new Tonko. Much more effective, in my opinion. But we saw Luchasaurus get a bit of consciousness last week, Saturday, when he actually held his title, when he actually was champion. How much of Christian Cage can Luchasaurus take when it comes to his instigating? After literally insulting Nick Wayne's father and talking about being with his mother, I do also think he is pushing some family boundaries that could come back to haunt him or bite him, insulting the dead, insulting Darby Allin's dead father, insulting Nick Wayne's dead father. And then we talk about, AR Fox, who also is a great friend to Darby Allin. And AR Fox and Nick Wayne, they don't necessarily see on the same page either. But in the name of Darby Allin, they might finally learn to coexist to help a friend. Because 2 out of 3 falls, you can win a fall via pinfall, submission, or disqualification. And don't think that savvy Christian Cage will not find opportunity to exploit those to the fullest degree. Also, Canada works well. It's one of those things where I think there's so many different elements going in this match right now in AEW, with the added factor of Adam Copeland, a fighter in his own right, by the way, that Adam Copeland, again, we're not necessarily near Canada. Well, I guess we are pretty close to Canada, but I don't think we're near where Edge lives, just saying. It's one of those things where I don't want to rule out the Adam Copeland factor, but I do think Adam Copeland will be the opposite of a bad father from the self-professed father of the year, my ass. I think Adam Copeland could actually be the X factor that plays on behalf of Darby Allin, if nothing else. If they throw everything in this possible and Darby Allin has to defy all the odds, if Adam Copeland shows up, he could be the very guy that literally takes the opportunity away from Christian Cage to make sure Darby Allin never becomes champion. At the end of the day, yeah, Edge and Christian as a tag team would be cool. But would that be AEW? Would that be Adam Copeland's direction, agenda? Would that be his choice that he would want to go in AEW? We just kind of assume that's the idea, or that's what we want. And again, I think that would be cool. But again, Adam Copeland, no stranger to being a face eater or an opportunist. We've also seen Edge and Christian Cage at odd ends before. So I just want to look at both sides here as we do here on Sydney Predicting, because again, this match I think could go either way. But it feels like to me it's the biggest story on this card besides Bryan Danielson's final Odyssey. So once again, I'm going to go against you, against the grain, and say that Darby Allin reaches validity and becomes the TNT champion in what could be his last run, but at least he got it. So I'm going to say that Darby Allin finishes out Seattle. Maybe Aubrey Edwards is there too, Seattle native. We see what happens there. All the Seattle people. Why the fuck not? And
Oh
literally,
hell, if Aubrey's there, then she's gonna screw Christian
no,
because
no,
that's
no,
what
no,
she's
no,
known
no, no,
for.
no, no, no. Don't start that. We are not going to question the integrity of Aubrey Edwards because that fucking witch is not involved in this, and neither is Jeff Jarrett. All she did was keep the witch at bay, and she fulfilled her promise. Anytime Karen gets involved, she's going to knock her on her ass. As she should. Damn it, she'll be burnt at the stake. But I digress. Anyway, believe that.
Damn, burn her at the stake? Jesus.
We're not talking about the witch and the chosen one. We're talking
I
about.
think you're going to need to go to confessional tomorrow for that one, Noah.
Look, all I'm saying is Darby Allin been waiting for this moment to main event in AEW pay-per-view. He feels validated with the TNT Championship, holds it to a higher degree than the AEW World Title. I think he deserves this moment. I think Christian Cage does what he does best: work everyone, work somebody up. He did that with Jet Perry before Jet Perry lost his marbles. I think Darby Allin closes out the night as the new TNT champion. Either way, I've loved this saga of the self-professed fighter of the year through the entire summer. Now, how does Christian Cage reinvent himself again in the fall? Yet to be determined.
I wouldn't be upset if Darby wins, but I don't know. Like, I think that there's a lot to still be done with Christian as the TNT champion. You know, he just barely got it a couple weeks ago on Collision. Like, I say give it to him, give him a run for a little bit, you know. You want to take the belt off of him, then save it for something else. Save it for Championship Tuesday. Save it for the 4th anniversary of Dynamite. Save it for Full Gear. Granted, it won't be as special because it won't be in Darby's home, but Christian just got the belt.
But you ask Christian, JJ, he has been the TNT champion since June 17th. He's the one that's held the championship the entire summer.
I know, and I agree with that philosophy because he has made the belt worth watching, even when it wasn't officially his. He still made the TNT title worth watching, worth taking note of.
And now it's the main event of an AEW pay-per-view.
Absolutely. As it deserves to be.
But bar none. And also, let's just put it out there, JJ. Darby Allin, Christian Cage, they've already met each other on 2 previous occasions where Darby Allin got the win under non-title circumstances, even though he says they were fluke and they don't count. Wins and losses do count. They are on the record books, Christian Cage. JR called you out. Sorry, not sorry. Again, classic Collision main event. Go watch that singles match. We saw what happened at All In at Wembley Stadium. Christian Cage not going to the coffin. His side still lost. And then we saw during Rampage Grand Slam, it was Christian Cage and Luchasaurus that lost against Sting and Darby Allin. So at this point, Christian Cage has gotten the better of Darby Allin in every way. It's about time that Darby Allin finally out-wrestles, Christian Cage's words, out-wrestles Christian Cage. Because to out-wrestle Christian Cage, you've finally proven something. Not just to yourself, but to him. This is validation for Darby Allin, not just for this championship, but honestly what Christian Cage has been spewing. Time to shut up, Instant Classic. Darby Allin wins the title.
We shall see.
Yes, we shall see indeed. And we also will see what it means when WrestleDream says the end of an era and a new one to come, with the idea that Mariah May from Stardom might be done there and come to AEW, expand the women's division, with the idea that an Ultimate Opportunist might make his way here, call his shot, whether it's alongside Christian Cage or against him. That's yet to be determined too. Whether Bryan Danielson's Odyssey already ends before it begins at the expense of Zack Sabre Jr., that is yet to be determined too. But there's a lot of interesting underlying dynamics and stories building out of WrestleDream. And that's why, if nothing else, this is going to be a worthwhile pay-per-view. But I think with that being said, we are done here with our discussion too. So thank you for tuning in, folks. We now will bid you a fine adieu. Thank you for tuning in so much to AEW WrestleDream City Predicting. We hope that we definitely encourage you to check out the show, or at least our coverage, as me and JJ will be on the call tomorrow night as we prepare for our call tonight for NXT No Mercy. JJ, it's been a pleasure. It's been the first time ever I think you and I did a duos panel for a wrestling pay-per-view, and we did it in under 90 minutes. It was a great time. I might literally
Absolutely
on specials like this too. But again, we're not going to try and duplicate Plus. But is there anything in the short haul you want to plug besides your social media where people can find you too before we reconvene tonight for NXT No Mercy?
Not really. I mean, of course, you can follow me on the social medias, the Renegade JJ Williams on Instagram, ROWJJ Williams on X, formerly known as Twitter, Casa D18 Studios on YouTube. We welcome you guys to tune in and join us tonight as we call the action for NXT No Mercy. We invite you guys to tune in tomorrow as we call the action for AEW WrestleDream. We invite you guys to tune in for open mic night this evening, the regular Saturday night shenanigans. We got a lot of stuff to discuss tonight, including the possibility of a rated R debut tomorrow. The most recent WWE signing, one that bitch Jade Cargill.
Yes.
Some comments made by both Bully Ray and Shawn Michaels regarding the straight edge savior CM Punk, and so much more. Plus, I actually have it on good authority. We will have James Hebert with us for at least the first topic, because I found a really interesting discussion point. And I invited him to join us to discuss that part. And he said that he was down. What wrestler had a better mid-card title reign than world title reign?
Ooh.
So the Heatman, James Hebert, will be with us for open mic night to discuss that topic, and then he will bid us farewell. But had to have the birthday boy on to celebrate him, as yesterday was his birthday. Happy belated, bud. And yeah, so we got a lot of stuff coming up on open mic night, a couple of watch-alongs. And then starting tomorrow, I kick off my month of Stephen King films. So lots of good stuff coming across the Casa D18 Studios channel.
All right. And apparently,
Good. I'm glad you've got yours ready, Walter. I have a hot take for a person, and I kind of discussed this with Jeff off air because he's not going to be there. He's going to be milling around Haddonfield, Illinois, Pasadena, California, and then going back to his home turf to see Gutter Candy with Frankie Kazarian on bass, and We Are Wasted performing, so he won't be there. But I shot him the first person that came to my mind and couldn't really disagree with me. So you're going to have to tune in to see what hot take I came up with.
I look very forward to hearing all that and being part of the conversation too. And JJ, always appreciate you. And as he alluded to, folks, yep, me and JJ will be back here in a few hours with our own little kickoff show, as we will cover tonight NXT No Mercy. And it will be headlined, of course, by the following matches, including about limited to Braun Breaker versus Baron Corbin, a one-on-one grudge match. We'll see if the ships get burned down or he gets speared into oblivion. The NXT North American Championship will be on the line as Dirty Don defends against Trick Williams. The NXT Championship will be on the line between him and Ilya Dragunov. And as we learn, apparently the NXT Women's Championship will be taking place as our main event under Extreme Rules as Becky Lynch defends against Tiffany Stratton. So stay tuned for more on that. But again, I appreciate everybody who also tunes into this live or on demand at any time. And if you want to know more about me, know this, for I am but a simple man and a lifelong fan of professional wrestling. Damn it! But I digress. And if you wish to engage with me more, then follow me if you choose on the Twitter and on YouTube and in Foster1916 for all things wrestling. Shout out, of course, the entire AEW family on the Twitter and our social media platforms. You, of course, can find the AEW View Impromptu, the podcast my family started primarily me and the King, been lately with doing these things weekly after these pay-per-views and beforehand too. So find the playlist for the AEW View Impromptu. Listen to some great open-ended conversations. They're unscripted, they're uncensored, they're unorganized, but they're a hell of a good time. Follow my Civil YouTube channel for Prediction League updates and forums. And of course, giving your own simple assessment to all the biggest shows that happened lately in all things wrestling. Follow me on the Twitter primarily, though, for also the forums in conjunction with NoDQ, so yes, NoDQ, as well as the full Prediction League boards and updates on a regular basis, too, and a simple positive hello and live encouragement in your day. And also, again, please follow the AEW family. Please follow the AEW family across the Twitter and social media platforms. Follow my friend Amara Jazz, continues her pro wrestling escapade, which continues to prove that Jazz worth more than gold. A little bit over 1 year in her career. Wish you all the best, pal. Cheers to you. Hope to see you in Rev Pro, Pro Wrestling Eve, and so much more too. Check out Zero, who was in the chat earlier. Owen Finch and James, of course, who spearhead the conversation every week. James from the producer role behind the scenes on all things All Elite Wrestling with AEW Spark. Check out the newest affiliate of the Multiverse of Me at The Dilla and the Rangers of Wrestling, Power Rangers, Impact Wrestling, and general professional wrestling content, as well as weekly review content, as always, too. Primarily, she looks for all these shows, but she also might start doing Impact Wrestling pay-per-views and Impact Wrestling Weekly, too. And me and her will be back on the call for Impact Wrestling Bound for Glory. Speaking of Bound for Glory and all things wrestling, here are the next of the predictings for you all here, as we'll be back next week to discuss Fastlane, followed by Bound for Glory, Turning Point, Crown Jewel, Full Gear, Survivor Series, and as we learn, NXT Deadline. So stay tuned for more on that. I'm sure there'll at least be 1 or 2 more shows announced for the end of 2023. As far as the Championship Network live watching events, after this weekend, we got Fastlane, and you see what's to come. Whether or not we include a AEW Diamond Anniversary, that remains to be yet official by Jeff Meacham. So stay tuned for more on that. You see what's next officially, though, with more to come on the Championship Network live watch along shows as we continue our way through 2023. Speaking of continuing our way, if you're not a member today, become a member today of Cassidy 18 Studios. There's a lot of great content already there, a lot of great forums, a lot of great polls, a lot of great discussion, a lot of great reviews. And we also are starting our own, I guess you could say, Odyssey too, as we continue our journey to WrestleMania 40. So far, we've canned 2, so coming up next will be WrestleMania 3. And me and JJ will work on that, and I'll keep you in tune with how far we are on this windy road all the way to Philadelphia, too. So stay tuned for more on that as well. And again, on behalf of the entire Jeff Meacham Network, Multiverse Media, we thank all of you always for tuning in to these yahoos discussing all things wrestling and going off the rails once in a while, too. Sometimes at the expense of JJ, who ends up watching things like Batman Forever. But I try and reel it in with subtle, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, spin, spin type of actions on air, too. So who knows what's going to happen tonight? Open mic night. Will it remain under control, or will he once again lose his spot as captain? We'll see. Again, it's always a fun time, though, with the weekly Saturday night shenanigans, usually that are open mic night. And again, open mic night will be, of course, regular time tonight, following No Mercy, 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So stay tuned for more on that, as always. And again, that's just some of the stuff coming up in conjunction with WWE Multiverse Media, Legendary Productions, of course, my simple YouTube brand, and of course, other things that are happening in and out of the internet with all of us too. But it's always going to conclude, there are no winners, there are no losers, there are no betters. Just fans with opinions for this passion we all share. So at the end of the day, folks, support one another, respect each other, protect your mentality too, treasure your families, and just enjoy life and enjoy professional wrestling. It is truly as simple as that. But with that being said, thank you so much once again for tuning in to another edition of City Predicting. In conjunction with Cassidy Studios and the Silverman's brand, part of Gemini Multiverse Media. Please subscribe, comment, tell a friend. Hit the bell, this video goes live on demand on either of these channels at any time. Hit the subscribe button, help it keep growing our YouTube communities. I assure you, our creative content, our passion is not leaving anytime soon. This boy monetized. Show him some love, if you will. Give him a super sticker, give him a super chat. It is as simple as that. At Cassidy 18 Steels. I'm happy to support a friend. I'm always along for the ride. And again, as far as the season goes, now we officially are entering autumn. We've only just begun. All sorts of wildness is soon to come, and it starts with this weekend. I hope everybody enjoyed the conversation, enjoyed the discussion, enjoyed the back and forth banter, and the counter opposites to some of these great matches too. But I think now, on this beautiful Saturday afternoon, we will bid you all a fine adieu. We'll see you in a few hours here on the WWE Media for our coverage of NXT No Mercy. But until then, as I always leave you, and encourage you, make a positive impact in life and have a good night. For I am AEW, but I also truly am simply a fan of all things professional wrestling too, and sports entertainment. Have a good day, folks.
Take it easy, everyone.
Bryan Danielson for the win.